Tonight, my friends, we have some massive reports to get through as we discuss the developing story involving Raheem Sterling and Jadon Sancho. And on top of that, we discuss all the exciting developments surrounding Victor Osimhen. My friends, it's set to be a massive end to the transfer window on deadline day this Friday, and you guys can't afford to miss out on it. And make sure you guys are locked in on BlueLionsTV. So you guys want to do, hit that like button, share your thoughts and opinions, and very quickly, the new third away kit is now out. If you guys still haven't secured yours, now is the perfect time to do so. It's a punk-inspired rockstar look, and I have to say, I think the black looks absolutely amazing. So if you guys want to secure it for yourselves, you'll find all the links you need in the card above, description below, and don't forget to use my code at checkout to get 10% off your final order. Right now, we discuss the developing reports surrounding Raheem Sterling and Jadon Sancho. Right now, it has been confirmed officially that both clubs are now entertaining talks over a proposed player swap deal. At the moment, this is more of an opportunistic move, even though both clubs are really willing to put the work in to try and agree a deal. Whereas us, on the other hand, have long-term admiration for Jadon Sancho. We can't forget that Joe Shields originally did amazing work to sign Sancho from Watford when he was still a youth player, and of course he's playing a role behind the scenes to get us to sign Sancho before the window closes. At the moment, both clubs are trying to figure out how this deal is actually going to work. We know that Raheem Sterling is keen on a move. It has been revealed recently that he is a lifelong Man United fan. He supported them ever since he was a kid, but we have no official inclinations from Jadon Sancho about whether he would be excited to sign for us. In the meantime, Juventus have put in a lot more work than us, and they are currently ahead in negotiations. Could Sancho maybe prefer their project instead of coming to us, where he may feel like there's just so much attacking talent on the show that it might be hard for him to try and restart his career again after leaving Man United? We're learning of potential negotiation topics on hand right now. They include a straight player swap. They also include maybe initial loan moves with obligations to buy at the end. United, though, will only complete a deal for Sterling on their terms, and we do the same thing for Jadon Sancho, which essentially means that both clubs need both the wingers to take big wage reductions. United won't be paying Sterling $300,000 plus a week, and we won't be paying Jadon Sancho $250,000 a week, but I feel personally there must be some confidence there, because if clubs like Dortmund and Juventus are negotiating to try and entice him, they also would never have offered Sancho the money he is currently on. At the moment though, we're learning that United value Jadon Sancho at £40 million, which I guess is a fair price, and you think to yourselves, will we value Sterling at a similar fee? He has 3 years left on his deal. His contract is worth nearly $51 million over those 3 years. We know that at this football club, we don't take losses on deals unless we really have to. But my friends, there is more news, because we aren't just entertaining a player swap involving Raheem Sterling, we've also offered Ben Chilwell as a potential player in these negotiations too. So you know there's going to be so much talks happening within the next 48 hours to decide the futures of both players, as both clubs need to get rid of each of their wingers. I think it's pretty ironic because, on one hand, I think Sterling would make a lot of sense at United. I feel like Sancho always struggled there because he isn't an out-and-out winger. He isn't someone that will burn a man for pace. He's all about his quick feet in tight spaces, his combination play. And as I kept stressing, during those years we were heavily linked with him, I kept saying that at Dortmund he had a free role to license inside and combine wherever he wanted to. He never got those same conditions and environment at Man United. So I do feel like, on one hand, if Sancho hypothetically does come to us with our positional style play, where Maresca is really about creating the overloads against the opposition, whether that's 6v5s, 5v4s, 4v3s, it doesn't really matter which players occupy those zones as long as they are there, but if they are going to be there, they need to have the quality on the ball. And I think that's why Sancho could be an interesting option, considering he offers strength down the left-hand side, down the right-hand side, and even centrally. So I think the positional play would really complement his football, whereas United's more direct counter-attacking style could get the best out of Raheem Sterling, who was still desperately trying to find himself back in that England national team, and being at United would mean that he's played for Liverpool, City, us, and he's basically done a Serie A, to be fair with you. But this Sancho news is really surprising because, should we be honest, is this a little bit greedy? We already have talent here. You're looking at Neto, Nkunku, Palmer, on form Madueke, other players like Nico Jackson. We're hoping to sign another striker. This means with all this talent you have at your disposal, one big midfield player will miss out, or one big attacking player is set to miss out too. Now, yes, I understand that you need to have big quality squads these days. We have tons of football to play in with the Conference League, Club World Cup, etc, etc. But I've always felt like the player quality is very similar between all the players, and we'll find out over time if having this abundance of talent is going to work out in our favour. Obviously, shed a tear for Tyree George. It clearly means that he'll barely get any game time, but who knows how the season could potentially play out. But I also think shed a tear for maybe Mykhailo Mudryk, because I think if the club now are deciding to engage in this deal to go for Jadon Sancho, that tells me, and I might be wrong, and you don't have to agree with me, but for myself, it tells me that the club are losing confidence and faith in Mudryk. Maresca has been with him since pre-season. He's given him opportunities, and every time he's giving him opportunities, Mudryk is not performing. He is not there on the field. He is not showing his quality on the ball, and in the last game against Wolves, he was subbed off before the second half, and Maresca said in that post-match, Mudryk, there is not enough quality on the ball. Yes, you're working hard, but I need the quality. And I think when you have a player that's been there for nearly 2 years, and he hasn't really gotten out of first gear yet, that is pretty concerning. And maybe people at the club are feeling like, did we sign him too early when he wasn't at the right stage of development yet to play for a club with our ambitions, where the expectations are high, where the pressure is high constantly? Players like Madueke, they've risen through that and they're shining now, but Mudryk's had more opportunities and still hasn't shown half of what Noni has been showing us over these past 2 years. But equally though, in less than 12 months, we have both Kendry Pires and Esteval Williams set to sign for us and join our squad. And of course, with the amount of hype and potential and efforts that's gone into signing these guys, they're coming here to get some type of minutes. On one hand, are we set to maybe sell someone next summer to pave the way for them? Who knows? But on the other hand, let's say next season comes and you got Sancho, Felix, Nkunku, Palmer, Madueke, Esteval, Kendry. That is a lot of attacking talent for very few positions. Am I being cynical in thinking that this is a move done purely for financial reasons? We're seeing this kind of American player trading philosophy and mentality going on right now. Do they feel like it makes sense to release Sterling whilst he's in his peak value? Because if we keep him one more year, we're set to make a massive loss on him because we feel like he is on the downward trajectory of his career. Whereas we can take a gamble on Jadon Sancho because we feel like with our data and how we play, maybe all this guy needs is a change of environment. A football that complements him a lot better. Better environment as he's coming back home into London. Maybe it's a bit of both. Maybe it is financial, but also footballing reasons as well. And the club has decided that if we have to get rid of Sterling and co, we can take a calculated gamble on Jadon Sancho because with the contract we give him, with the age of the player, with the fact that we won't be paying peak money to sign him, and with the fact that we'll be offering Jadon Sancho competitive wages, which means that no matter what happens in the future, he won't be a headache for us to have to sell if that possibility ever happens. Who knows, my friends? It's a lot to think about, but the club doesn't make signings for no reason, do they? That's set to find out, I guess. So that's the Sterling Sancho news out the way. And now we end things with another massive report this evening coming courtesy of heavy-hitting journalists like Damasio, Sasha Tavalieri, Romano, and a host more, as it seems like within the next few hours, we are set to make our opening transfer bids to sign Osimhen. This won't be a loan move. Currently, reports are suggesting this is set to be a move that's based on a permanent deal. Let's see how things go. We know that Al Ali agreed a €65 million deal with Napoli for the player, and that ends up being around £55 million. We could structure that deal pretty well, especially knowing that more academy grads are set to be sold, and with their pure profit, that allows us to cover the deal to sign an Osimhen. We're learning though there are 3 clubs currently after Osimhen. One is Al Ali, who still seem as their top target, we're learning that obviously Paris Saint-Germain are hovering behind the scenes. Currently, they aren't making any efforts or any moves. They've been put off in the past because the finances didn't work out, and they'd have to sell the player first to be able to complete a move for Victor Osimhen. And obviously, we're the other club, and Damasio has reported tonight that we are now set to move assertively with our efforts to sign him. We are anticipating that Paris Saint-Germain may come in with an 11th hour offer to try and entice a player once they figure out the type of fees, money, and talks that's going on. We know that ideally, Osimhen wants to sign for us and come to the Premier League. He wants to play in a different league, and he wants to play for a club that he supported when he was young. But the thing that's been holding up this deal has forever been Victor's wage demands. And this is where things get pretty interesting. Reports tonight suggest that we are prepared to make Osimhen one of the top, if not the top earning player at the football club, but he would have to accept an incentivized wage structure. And I think this basically means he'll sign a very high fixed fee, but there's also set to be high clauses in that deal where if he scores a certain amount of goals, or every time he scores a goal or gets a personal accolade or something like that, he's entitled to more money. Now, he either accepts that or he doesn't. If he doesn't accept that, it must mean that he accepts moving to Al Ahly, even though currently him and his team are stalling in their efforts to sign for them. That's their last resort option. His agent came out, as I said earlier, to state that Victor has unfinished business left in Europe. He doesn't want to leave right now. I think there has to be a bit of balance found now. The fact that Napoli can't even afford to maintain Victor's wages after giving him such a crazy salary kind of says everything. And also, we have to remember, this is an incentivized contract that could be offered. Victor is 25 years old. His peak years will come between the age of 26 to 30 years old, and with how footballers look after themselves, Victor could easily play into his early 30s, mid 30s, etc, etc. The potential deal he could sign and accept doesn't necessarily have to be the deal that lasts him until the end of his contract. As we've seen with Cole Palmer, if you perform, if we do well, you will earn more money. Currently, we don't have Champions League football, and as we knew, with every player we signed, there was a clause in their deal stating that they will earn less money based on not having Champions League football. But the moment we get back into that tournament, money opens up, opportunities open up, and I think if Osimhen, who I think the club are targeting to spearhead us into guaranteeing Champions League football, can actually get us there, he will be rewarded because the club won't waste time in paying the money that he deserves. That is the whole point of an incentivized related contract. So I think Victor and his team have to think long and hard right now, because there aren't many clubs available right now that will come close to paying that money. Paris Saint-Germain said before, they won't be entertaining matching his offers at Napoli. The only club that will do that and offer more is Al Ahly. So let's see what happens there. But regardless, we're learning small reports with journalists in Italy called Rudy Giletti revealing that personal terms are no issue anymore and talks continue between the clubs. Now, Giletti isn't the most reliable journalist. Who knows, is he onto something, an early scoop maybe? I thought I'd let you guys know, but I'm not personally too confident on his report, to be fair with you. But I do feel like the club now, this was their master plan the entire time. I kept saying, there's no need to force an early move for Osimhen. We need to get players off the wage bill. We need to sell players. We need to buy players in other positions that we need first. And then we hope that clubs don't entertain paying the values Napoli want for Osimhen, because the longer the window goes on, there's more pressure on Napoli to sell him for a very affordable fee. And I kind of think it's pretty ironic and funny that De Laurentiis, who's notoriously difficult to negotiate with, is set to have one of his biggest L's in his career, because he's set to have to sell a player for less than half his release clause value after this player helped Napoli win their first Scudetto since the 90s. That's absolutely crazy to me. Currently, this is the final opportunity to strike a deal for Victor Osimhen. Tomorrow, I'll have a very special guest on, and we'll be discussing all the crazy transfer reports, and I'll be releasing that in the evening. I don't think you guys want to miss out on this video that's planned, and you're going to be very surprised by who this guest is. But right now, this is where everything matters. Osimhen either agrees or he doesn't. And if he doesn't agree, well, we have Ivan Toney as backup. And if that falls through, We have Calvert-Lewin we could turn to on a temporary basis. I think it's interesting though that the club are going for an out-and-out striker. What does it say about Nico Jackson's development? Would he not have benefited having another season to grow? Because there's qualities to his game that maybe Osimhen doesn't have. Or is this the moment where Osimhen signing could either make or break Nico Jackson? There's so much conversation around this that I don't have enough time to dissect all my full thoughts and opinions, so you guys will have to come back tomorrow so we can continue this conversation and debate surrounding Victor Osimhen. So my friends, that's all the news tonight. Hope you all enjoy. Hit that like button, of course, to show love, and of course, make sure you guys sleep well, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. So thank you for watching. Cool.